Hey, what's going on, my friend? It's Geoff Newport from ChasingStrength.com. And in today's video, we are going to answer the question, how many reps are good for, and then we're going to fill in that blank, all right? So one of the questions I routinely get from customers goes something along these lines, okay? Hey, Geoff, I'm doing program XYZ, and I just hit 4 million reps in my latest workout, and I want to know if that's good. I read on the forum that some guys are doing 8 gajillion reps, and I just want to know how I stack up. Now, look, obviously, I'm exaggerating, right, on the rep count there, and there's a little bit of sarcasm in there. But hopefully, you get my drift, right? And that's because typically, but not always, I prescribe reps and sets, but not total workloads, okay? I let the workout duration or the training session duration be the governor of the amount of work you complete. So like you set your timer for 30 minutes as an example. So what is pretty typical in many of my programs is you will see something along the lines that says sets of 5 or ladders of 1, 2, 3, or something similar or along those lines. In other words, I rarely program the good old-fashioned 5 sets of 5. Now, the reason I tend to do this, or prefer to do this, if you will, is to accommodate for our individual differences, okay? You're not like me. I'm not like you, apart from the fact that you're probably a guy and you're human, all right? And that means we all have differences in strength levels, number 1. Okay, number 2, training age. Number 3, training background. Okay, so let me flesh that out a little bit. Maybe you've been training for 5 years versus me, who's been training for 1989. So you do the math. Whatever year this is, minus 1989. That's when I picked up a weight seriously and seriously started training. Okay. Training background is maybe you have an endurance background versus a strength background. Okay. So that would be 2 and 3. Number 4 is our injury history. Maybe you've never been injured versus me, right? Where I've had multiple injuries. And number 5 is endurance levels. Okay, I mentioned a little bit about this, but some guys come into strength training and they have great endurance, great work capacity, great general physical fitness and general physical preparedness, and other guys don't. Okay, so the first group, they're going to make pretty spectacular gains in strength, and the second group may actually struggle. So here's another great case in point. I have a background in the sport of Olympic weightlifting. And so I generally have poor endurance. Okay. So I could not get up from this chair right now and go run a 10K. I mean, I could drive a 10K. That's a form of endurance too, because your butt gets sore. But anyway, that's beside the point. And I'm kind of digressing a little bit. But what that means is when the rubber meets the road, if you looked at the number of clean and presses, right, that I performed, the number of sets that I performed doing a program like the Giant, they'd actually be quite low, maybe compared to yours, or maybe, compared to some of the guys on the forums. Okay. And maybe as low as 40 reps in a 30-minute period, depending on the size of the kettlebells I was using. Now, you contrast that with some other guys, right? And they literally post numbers like, I did 100 reps of clean and presses in 30 minutes. Now, to me, man, that's mind-blowing, but I say good for them for being able to do that, right? So the only way you'll know what is good for you is to actually establish 3 things, or do 3 things if you prefer. Okay, number 1 is to establish a true repetition maximum for the particular program. I use particular repetition maximums in many of my programs. And one of the reasons that people are disappointed and don't see the results that they think they should see is they completely ignore the repetition maximum. They go, oh, this requires a 10 repetition maximum. I have a pair of 12 kilo or 16 kilo kettlebells. I'll just use those instead of actually testing them out. Okay. Number 2, you run your first training session and you record the total number of sets and reps in your training log. Now, again, here's another mistake that some people make, and that is they don't keep a training log. Okay. So they have no idea how many sets and reps they're doing. All right. Or they don't keep a training log on a consistent basis. So maybe they trained last Tuesday and they were supposed to train last Thursday and recorded last Tuesday, but not last Thursday. And then they're supposed to train on Saturday and they skipped that. And now it's Monday or whatever day today is, right? And they found their training log, which, they left in the garage, but it should be in the basement where their kettlebells are. You get the picture, right? So here's number 3. You are going to repeat number 2 every training session, okay? Not just last Tuesday, not Saturday, but every single training session. And you're going to track the increase of your total number of reps. Now, what is good? Well, good is when you see those total reps rise over the course of time. So 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever the program duration is, okay? And that's because, and this is very important, we want to hammer this home, okay? If there's no title belt on the line, okay, you are only ever competing against yourself, no one else, okay? Now, all that being said, if you need a goal, right, something to measure your strength against, why not just use my strong enough standards? All right. How do you know if you're strong enough? How do I know if I'm strong enough, Geoff? Well, hit these targets. Okay. We've talked about this before. We'll put some links to some other videos about the strength standards in the description below this video. But you're going to hit these targets. Okay. So number one, you're going to do double clean and presses. You're going to use 2 kettlebells, right? 2 32-kilo kettlebells, and you're going to do 10 sets of 5 repetitions in 20 minutes. That's the first target. The second target is you're going to grab a pair of 32s and you're going to do 10 sets of 5 double front squats, and you're going to do those in 20 minutes, okay? And then finally, the third target, you're going to take one 32-kilo kettlebell, and you're going to snatch it for 100 reps in 10 minutes. Can't hit any of those yet. They look out of reach maybe, okay? And maybe they're even downright impossible, right? From where you're sitting, from your vantage point. Good. All right, Geoff, that's so mean. No, that's not mean. That's great. When I say good, what I mean is now you have a goal to work towards, okay? Now you've got a vision, you got something out there in the future, and you can march toward that 1 foot at a time, okay? How do you do those? Well, you're simply going to break those targets down into smaller units, or those 3 targets I just mentioned, right? And you're going to break them down into smaller units, and you're going to get going. So number one, you're going to use a pair of 16s, and you're going to do the clean and press and the front squat, okay, for 10 sets of 5, and you're going to use a 16-kilo kettlebell for the snatch. Number 2, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to use a pair of 20s and a single 20, okay? Number 3, you're going to use a pair of 24s and a single 24. Number 4, you're going to use a pair of 28s for that clean and press and the front squat, and then a single 28 for the snatch, all right? And then you just check those boxes as you meet those standards, okay? And here's what many people don't understand is as you focus on becoming strong enough, you will magically, okay, you're magically going to get leaner. You're going to lose some body fat, and you're going to strip some of that unwanted fat off your waist, assuming you don't chow down because you rationalize, okay, in the lizard brain that you're actually working out, and so you can afford to eat more food, okay? Number 2, you're going to become noticeably more muscular. You're going to fill out your t-shirt sleeves. Say that fast 10 times. T-shirt sleeves, t-shirt sleeves, t-shirt sleeves. You get my point, okay? Number 3, you're going to improve your conditioning levels. So climbing the stairs and playing with your kiddos or grandkiddos will no longer be a chore for you. Number 4, your daily energy is going to increase. So you're not hitting your 3rd cup of coffee at 2 p.m. because you can't keep your eyes open. Okay, and number 5, you might even reverse some of the diseases you currently are fighting off, right? And that way you can lower the dosages of your meds, or maybe even eliminate them altogether. Save yourself some moolah, okay? And then finally, I think it goes without saying, once you achieve some of these physical standards, right, you're going to feel pretty proud of yourself, as you should, all right? Now, if you need some resources to help you in this journey that I assume you're going to undertake to find out how many reps are good enough for you, I will leave links to some of my best resources to help you on your way in the description below this video. All right, hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, share it with a friend who's not quite strong enough yet and you know they need to be, right? And leave me a comment in the comment section below. How do you measure up on these standards, right? Where are you? Have you surpassed them? What do you think about them? Are they out of reach? Are they ridiculous? Whatever, right? There's no such thing as necessarily a wrong comment, but just keep it clean and keep it respectful, okay? Talk to you next time, my friend. Until then, stay strong.